When creating an instance of a generic type, we can only use a reference type as a generic type argument. Let me show you what I mean. So I'm going to create a generic list of user. We can pass the user class as a generic type argument because this class is a reference type. We can also use the object class or the string class. These are all reference types in Java. But here we cannot pass the primitive integer type or short or boolean or float. These are all primitive types. If you want to store these primitive values inside a generic list, we have to use the wrapper class. So every primitive type in Java has a wrapper class. Let me show you. So for the primitive int, we have the integer class. For the float, we have the float class. For the boolean, we have the boolean class, and so on. So this boolean class is a reference type that stores a boolean value. So if you want to create a generic list of integers, we have to write code like this. New generic list of integer. Now let's store this object in a variable of type generic list of integer. Call it numbers. Now, look over here. This integer is grayed out because it's unnecessary. We're duplicating our code. So let's remove that. That's better. Now look at the signature of the add method. It takes an instance of the integer class, but we can pass a primitive integer like 1, and the Java compiler will automatically wrap this value inside an instance of the integer class. So it's going to create an instance of the integer class to store this value. This process is called boxing. So the Java compiler is going to put this primitive value inside a box. Now, when we call the get method, look at the return type. We get an instance of the integer class. So let's get the first item and store it in a primitive int called number. Now, in this case, the Java compiler is going to extract the value that is stored in that integer object. This is called unboxing. So this is how we can create generic types that work with primitive values.